What an honor to be joined by the legend, Paul Daley. He's going to come in studio. He's never joined us in studio before. This is a big deal. Semtex. I can't wait for this fight. And yeah, I'll admit, I was a little bummed initially when I found out Uncasville. What? Biggest grudge match in UK MMA history? It's happening in Connecticut? This makes no sense. But now I'm over it. Now I just want to see the fight because I honestly, legitimately thought that it would never happen, that it would never come to fruition. Let's say hello to the man himself, sitting as we speak. Wow, what an honor.
How are you?
MMA royalty.
I don't want to fall off this chair.
No, you're good. I don't want you to get injured either. You good? You know, you can make it a little lower. There's a lever right over there. You see this thing? Right there, that black thing.
Okay, we're good.
Is it working? And then you kind of push down? No? You know, these
this
chairs,
will do.
This is fine?
Yeah,
you just come closer to the microphone. You comfortable, Paul?
I'm okay.
You're okay. Can we help Paul's chair here? I don't know what's going on.
So,
oh, there we go. It's this one on the side. You see that? On the other side, on the right side. Oh, there it is. How's that feel?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay, good. Paul, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It's good to have you here. Smiling. Have you ever been to ESPN before?
Never.
This is the worldwide leader in sports, Paul. It's a big deal.
Big news. That's why I put it on my Instagram.
Oh, you did?
Semtex170, yeah.
Look at you now. You're like a social media king. Instagram, Twitter, for years you were ignoring it. You were just a Facebook guy for years.
Yes, I was.
Now you're Instagram and Twitter. Yeah. But more Instagram than Twitter, right?
More Instagram, yeah.
Why is that?
I take care of my Instagram. I don't know. It's a little more interesting, I guess.
Okay. You like the visual, the photos, the videos, things like that.
Interesting.
Well, I'm happy that you're here. Thank you for doing this.
No problem.
And as I was just saying, I legitimately thought for a long time this fight would never happen. I was worried. It was taking a while. First, let me ask you, same question I asked him. Did you guys see each other back there, by the way?
No.
Okay, good. Have you seen each other while you're here?
No.
No issues?
No issues.
Okay, good.
No issues. We
made a point to try to keep you guys separate. What was your reaction when you found out this fight wasn't happening in the UK?
It's a hard one. It was a surprise, I'll say that. But at the same time, I'm comfortable fighting in the US, you know.
Yeah.
Done it for a long time. I was a bit disappointed that, you know, the UK MMA fans, my family and friends would miss out on seeing the fight live. But for me, it was just like, wherever it happens, it's all good.
Yeah. Because this would be a big deal back home. It is a big deal, but it would just like feel like one of those, you know, Anthony Joshua fights, I feel like, or David Haye back in the day, Ricky Hatton.
But really, I feel like it's already in that same kind of vein, you know. I said Chris Eubank, Nigel Benn.
Yes.
You know, whether it's here in the US or the UK, I still feel like the fight in itself is interesting enough that the UK MMA media and the fans and everybody's got behind the fight anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've got a good TV deal now, so at least people who really want to stay up and watch the fight can stay up and watch the fight live.
They're telling me to lower my chair, so in case you're wondering why I'm doing this in my ear, they're telling me, I think they didn't want me to be that much taller than you.
Okay.
So out of respect to the King Semtex, I'm going to do that. Yes, the Sky Sports deal, that's a huge deal.
Yeah,
and now it's finally live.
Yeah.
Bellator's finally live in the UK.
Yeah, that's huge. You know, Sky is the go-to place for all your sports in the UK. Yeah, it's fantastic. You know, it's real big news.
So I was talking to Michael just earlier and asking him in his mind, like, how this all started, the issue between you two. Can I hear your side of the story? How did this whole thing started?
This is basically it. You know, it's a bit of a nothing story for me. You know, we're working at the same promotion, colleagues as such, never friends, never really calling each other on the weekend. But if we do some press together, you know, or we sat cage side together, we'll have a drink, we'll have a laugh. We were like friendly colleagues, but not friends. You know, I fought Brendan Ward. Adrenaline's pumped. Great knockout. Someone asked me, you know, what do you think of Michael Page? And casually I said, he's a great fighter, but he's Adrian Broner and I'm Floyd Mayweather. And that was it. It was just a comment. Now, Michael took that to heart, and it was, giving it some thought, it must have sort of hit a nerve with him somewhere. There must have been something there already. Maybe he felt like, you know, I don't know, maybe there was something there already, and that kind of opened the wound up even greater. And then before I know it, he wants to fight me, and he's calling me out, and there's this and it's that. So the emotional side of it, he calls me emotional and he calls me erratic, but it's come from him. Like for me, I'm like, you know, it's cool. You know, I had that thing after the Rory fight where where I was told he was coming for me behind my back. So I had that little bit there. But for me, you know, if you look at it all, I'm pretty cool with the fact of fighting him. It was just a matter of timing and the opportunity. So yeah.
So you heard after the Roy fight that he was literally coming behind you?
Yeah, but he kind of blows the story off. He says that in fact, I'm so over the whole thing that he kind of looks into it a little bit more than I do. But the fact of the matter is there was one exit which I was ushered towards.
Yeah, we're looking at the scene right over here.
Yeah, there was one exit I was ushered towards. I went to the right as told, and then he went around the cage and came behind me. Someone says, hey, look, you know, he's come behind you. So I turn around and say, what's up?
Okay.
Yeah.
And so he says that, like, for the cameras you put on this front, but then when you're behind the scenes, there's nothing's being said. You're kind of nice to him, but when it's, you know, like when the red light is on.
But what have I done or said on camera that is kind of would instigate anything? You know, he can say I act away in front of the camera, behind the camera, but if you look back, I've never said anything bar the making the fight official, which that whole after the Rory thing was. You know, I'm an intelligent guy. I've been in the sport for a while. I know the fans wanted the fight. I wanted the fight. I knew kind of where Bellator was going. So, you know, to make the fight a little more interesting, of course, you know, I'm going to call him a pussy. I'm going to try and get the fans behind it, make it interesting, make the news media pick up on it, the MMA media. So that was an intelligent move on my part. But after that, if you look at all the interviews and look at all the pieces I've done, there's been very little in the way of, you know, childish name calling, memes and gifs. Do you call them that? You know, like there has been on Michael Page's part. So for him to say I'm away in front of the camera and different behind is you know, he's a talented fighter. He's a good guy. We're gonna fight now.
How do you feel about the fact that, you know, he calls you Paula and he puts out the props?
You know what, I think when all that started, I just thought it was childish. I didn't really know his age until, you know, I was watching the fight and it brought it up. I thought it was like, I kind of, you know, let him off of it a bit because I thought it was like 25, 26. You know, everyone's saying this new young guy coming up. He's 32 years old. I mean, it's the kind of humor. You know, I did the whole Koscheck thing back when I was with the UFC. I was 26 then. Yeah, okay, I was excited. I'm in the UFC. He's a grown-ass man doing this kind of stuff. I know he's the new age fighter as such on the MMA scene, as far as he's very aware of the power of his social media, hence his followers and hence all the other stuff that he does. But for me, I just thought he was being childish, to be honest with you.
Do you feel like he's crossed the line?
Not really.
No.
Not really.
At any point?
There was a comment that was made at a recent press conference. I don't know in which kind of tone he meant it, but
what do you say?
I can't even remember it. In all
was
honesty,
this the one that just happened?
The one that just happened. Yeah.
Because you know, it's funny. He said something, and then you said, "I've been respectful. I haven't talked about." But I went back and tried to hear what he said, but I couldn't because I think Scott was talking at the same time, so I couldn't make out what he said. And then you said that I really wanted to know what he said.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I thought he said what he said. Then someone said he didn't say it. But then
what did you think?
Another news media, someone's actually heard what he said. However, but it's something about, I don't know.
You don't want to repeat it.
Not that I don't want to repeat it. It's just something that I think was. No, it wasn't even serious. He said something like, "It's like." What the fuck? I don't even know what he said.
Okay.
I don't know what he said.
Now, what did you mean when you said like I've been respectful here? And I'm
exactly that. I've been respectful.
And you said something to him like I could be bringing up stuff, but I'm not. And he said, "Go ahead, bring it up, but you didn't."
I'm respectful. I would even right now. I'd just brush over the comment and everything.
Okay.
I've been respectful. You know, from the very beginning.
You don't want to go there.
And it's unnecessary. We're gonna fight now, and you know, it's unnecessary.
Why did it take so long for this fight to get made?
Like I say, matter of timing. I think I just felt like there was things that I wanted to do in Bellator, and you know, namely a clear path towards the title. I've had those opportunities, and you know, it didn't go my way. You know, the Douglas Lima fight and the Rory fight. So Bellator then said that, you know, you have this fight, and we're going to package it in this tournament. So it was a no-brainer, really. And I was aware that it was coming up anyway.
Okay. I was worried after the Fitch fight that maybe the momentum was lost. You know what I mean?
Not really, because it was like the way they packaged it as a grudge match. People always want to see a grudge match.
No matter what.
They want to see a score settled. If they feel like two people genuinely dislike each other, they want to see them fight. And luckily, February 16th, we're going to fight.
Now, I don't know what's the bigger grudge match, you versus Michael or you versus Bellator. Is everything good?
Yeah, we're good.
You're good now?
Yeah, we're good.
How did we clear this up? Because it got heated there for a second, I must say. I mean, didn't you say yourself you would never fight for them again?
Not never. I just asked for my release. It was just, you know, I like to fight.
Yeah.
I like to fight. They wasn't allowing me to fight as often as I was promised.
Was that the problem?
That was the problem. That was the problem. And the only reason why I went to social media is because but we're cool now, but the only reason is because whoever I was talking to, obviously it's a phone, you're going back and forwards, and iMessage says, okay, you're released. So I said, okay, I'm released.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You were actually told you were released?
Yeah, I was told, okay,
really?
Cool. I asked for my release, says, no problem, you've got it. So I said, but obviously they thought, they thought against it. So
how did it get fixed?
I guess it was a little bit on both parts. We both had to sort of talk, for one, and I think a lot of what I said got the desired effect, because I hadn't sat down with Scott Coker. I've had the one meeting now and you know, talked about things, but I'd never sat down with him, and I'd seen him numerous times. I fought for him at Strikeforce, and now I'm fighting for him at Bellator, and I never really spoke to him apart from press conferences. So I wanted the opportunity for him to give me that sort of respect. You know, he puts me in these big fights. He obviously knows that I can deliver in these big fights, but then I've kind of felt like he wasn't giving me the respect, not as an employee, but as a man, to sort of talk to me and say, right, okay, Paul, whether it's good or bad, just say what he has to say. And, you know, since then we've done that. We've sat down, we've talked. I understand where he's going. I understand his vision for me and everything, and we're all good.
So you had the extended sit down with him?
Yep, sat down with him.
And it was good?
Yeah, it was good. It was very positive.
Scott's a pretty nice, mellow guy, right?
He is. And I think he was taken back by the fact that I was like, of the way I was, and even meeting him in person, you know, I just kept it going. You know, I wasn't happy, and there was situations where I shown that I wasn't happy, not in a horrible way, but sort of in a I don't see you way.
And then you had to call upon the crazy Egyptian Ali to help you out as well.
Yeah. That was kind of that was kind of random.
You have no connection to him, right?
No connection whatsoever. He kind of, I don't know, he must have seen something in me that sort of connected with himself at the time. And he just gave me a phone call. He's like, you know what, I want to help you out. I want to manage you. And I looked at the roster, and it was like, I didn't really, I've been self-managed for a long time now, and I probably still don't, but the timing was right for him to sort of step in and me to step back and allow him to renegotiate a deal. And it was just good. Sometimes
it's good to have someone like on the front lines battling for you, right? Because maybe it's a little emotional for you. You can just sit back.
But I feel like sometimes that when things need to be said, they need to be said, and they need to be said with the emotion and the intention of how, you know, how I want them delivered correctly. And I feel like when you have a manager, because he's looking out for himself and looking out for his own percentage and trying to keep me in check as such and tick all the right boxes, that sometimes that message isn't delivered properly. So I actually prefer to be able to sit down with someone and say, look, I don't like what you're doing. What are you doing? Where am I going? You know, what can you talk to him, basically, face to face, and then no one can pass the blame and everything's meant as it's meant.
So are you still with Ali?
I am, Okay, I'm still working with him. He's going to fly out Thursday.
Okay.
So it's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
Would you classify this fight as, like, is it personal for you?
Not really.
It's not.
It's not personal, and I know that Michael needs for me he needs to try and make it personal.
Yeah, he thinks he's in your head.
Yeah.
And you're shook. That's what he thinks.
It's not in my head at all. The fight was made, and I knew that was one of the things that he'd be trying to do as such. And it's just, you know, the fights that I've had in the past when I've shown emotions, I've learned from them, all of them, and some have worked out well. I needed that emotion to get through the fight, and some of them have not worked out well. And I think this is a fight that I need to approach in without emotion and just enjoy it. I know I'm better than him. I know I'm going to knock him out, and I think all he's doing is just highlighting his own insecurities. So.
Wow. So I was going to ask you in the follow-up question, like, are you worried about maybe fighting? You know, sometimes when you fight a fight that's like very personal, it's very emotional. You don't really think out there. You're doing things that you're not, you know, that you didn't prepare for the game. You stray from the game.
I'm prepared.
This is not going to happen with you.
No, I'm prepared. I'm composed, and I'm extremely confident. I feel like it's almost like with his social media presence and the one, maybe two spectacular finishes that he's had has sort of put up this illusion to everybody that he's some kind of the supreme fighter who's going to take over the sport. I don't see like that. I watch my fights. I watch my good and bad performances and stylistic matchups as well. For me, this is a no-brainer that he's going to get knocked out. Like, stylistically, I just don't see how he can beat me. I just don't.
So maybe it's not personal, but perhaps you've never been more motivated for a fight because of everything that's been said?
Not necessarily motivation, but I kind of feel like, I do obviously have motivation to fight, but I feel like I just have to make people see what I see, and perform as I can perform, and highlight what he doesn't do, and
what does he not do?
Dispel the illusion. Just dispel the illusion. I just want to clear the air.
Okay,
that's it.
Because I feel like in some fights, you've been frustrated with the matchup.
Very much so.
And maybe sometimes that kind of kills your motivation. Like, I don't really get up for this fight. But like in this has everything that you want, right? It's another striker.
Yep.
There's some sort of issue there. It's a matchup. All eyes are on you. Like, this ticks all those boxes for you, right? That you've been looking for.
For me, it's an ideal matchup.
Yeah.
You know, people don't see what I see. A lot of people think I'm going to lose because it's so spectacular and all of this, and he does this good, but I like to place myself mentally in a position that I'm in now. I feel like I have to show everybody, like, certain styles, certain fights, I cannot lose, and this is one of those fights.
You feel like he's overhyped, overrated?
He's very good, very good. He's had some, like I say, one or two spectacular finishes. He's a good fighter. He is a really good fighter, but he just can't beat me. That's it.
Have you known of him for a while? Like, did you hear about him a long time ago from the UK scene?
Not really.
Really?
Not really. It was at Bellator that I really became aware of him. Obviously, doing all the press and stuff together, sharing a changing room with him, doing the Battle of Britain show that we did. Like I say, we spent some time together on PR shoots and stuff. But I've where I was in the sport. At the same time, as I said in the press conference, he was in leisure centres fighting on square mats, so he was never on my radar. Our goals were completely different at the time. So no.
How do you feel about the size difference? Because I feel like for you to the body, like, this is like one big target, that long frame.
Yeah, but look, I am the first to admit I'm not a big 170-pound fighter, but I've had over 60 MMA fights. I've always been this weight class. I've always fought bigger guys. Even over to my kickboxing matches, always fought bigger guys with a longer reach and taller guys. I'm used to it.
Okay.
I'm used to it. And you have that. Some fighters are just made for a division. Like Mike Tyson, he was a small heavyweight, right?
Right.
He was pretty successful.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Height and range, he has to utilize it. I have to sort of do what I do without giving too much away and just perform how I know I can perform. And that is that.
I've heard you say this a couple times in the interview now. Like, do you feel like people are starting to count out Semtex, like they've forgotten?
No.
Do you have to remind people?
No, I don't feel like I have to remind people. I just feel like people are just missing the point. They're missing something.
What is the point?
Not that I have to remind them. They know I'm still here. They know I'm still here. I've been here for a very long time, but I just feel like they're kind of missing the point.
What is the point that you want to prove? What's the point?
I just want to dispel the illusion. It's not a matter of me having something to prove. It's a matter of me kind of just knocking him out, basically. Just really just putting an end to the illusion.
Okay. Are you loving the game as much as you did?
Always.
Always.
I'm very passionate about mixed martial arts. You know, back home I run a school, Spirit Dojo Legacy, and I enjoy teaching, I enjoy coaching, I enjoy the journey as a martial artist. And people don't think of me as that because maybe sometimes I don't portray myself, or people get the wrong impression from reading words rather than hearing me speak and hearing me deliver things as they're supposed to be said. I come from a background in traditional martial arts. I see this as a never-ending journey, and I'm in mixed martial arts for a long time now.
Is there any part of you that is worried? Like he mentioned to me, like your claim to fame, like the number one thing that people always talk about with you is the Nick Diaz fight.
That's not the number. I think the number one thing that people talk about is the fact that I consistently knock people out. Diaz was a great fight because Diaz is a huge name, and it was a fantastic one-round brawl, which is what it was. But you know, there's lots more things that I've done in my career that people, I'm going to use your thing and say, forget. They forget that I came into the UFC and knocked out Martin Kampmann, who was the number one contender at the time, and I was coming up from Cage Rage or whoever I was fighting for at the time. They forget certain things, but people who know.
Yeah.
You know, and I had that, someone on my social media posted something similar to that. If you know, and if you really look at the fights that I've had, and you think about this matchup with clear eyes, this guy cannot beat me. What is he going to do? What does he present that I have not faced already? Taller opponent. My whole career I fought taller opponents. Is he a killer one-punch knockout artist like the beast that I faced in Douglas Lima for 3 rounds? No, he's not. Is he an elite wrestler like the wrestlers I've faced? Not necessarily beat, but I faced the elite wrestlers. Is he going to bring to me a takedown that I've never seen before? Is he going to push and maul me against the cage? He's not. He's going to have to stand in that cage with me until he gets knocked out, or for 25 minutes and take a beating and realize not to believe your own hype, basically.
What is your favorite Paul Daley fight?
I have
quintessential Paul Daley.
I have many fantastic performances. There's not one that I can highlight. There's knockouts that I like. One of my favorite knockouts is probably Scott Smith, but not because of the knockout itself, but because of the fact that he'd just knocked out Kung Lee, who was at the time Strikeforce middleweight champion or something like that, and he'd come back from being beat up and he'd knock Kung Lee out, and I thought that was
incredible.
That was a good knockout, just because of what he'd achieved before. But I've been knocking guys out a long time over my career, and 32 out of 40.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
That feeling when you connect and the guy like is like a tree, and just like there probably isn't a greater feeling in the world for you, right? When you know like you hit that bullseye. For
me, when I hit that shot, it's not necessarily a feeling. It's just, I know. You know when it's game over, and you just know. It's become such a familiar thing to me that I don't really get too hyped about it.
Really?
Apart from Brendan Ward, because that was pretty cool, because it was a spinning back fist to a double flying knee. Yes. You had to be. And the way the crowd reacted as well at the forum might have pushed me a little over the edge. But
and that's when this whole thing started, right? When you were on the mic.
Exactly.
So when you look at his opponents, because you know the knock on him is always like you haven't fought anyone, they're moving you too slowly, they're giving you easy matchups. When you look at his resume, are you impressed with it, or do you feel like it's legit, like he has not fought anyone like you?
I personally don't feel that he's fought anyone like me, and his closest comparison is, I believe, Cyborg. And if that's what he thinks of me, then you know he's in for a rude awakening. He hasn't fought anybody like me, and I'm going to show that on February 16th.
We're looking at some of his highlights here, and he loves the antics, right? In the fight, after the fight.
Yep.
If he starts doing that, and he says he's got a lot planned for you, and it's going to be even more than usual.
Yep.
For you, like a vet, you've seen and done it all. He starts doing the dancing and all that stuff. How will you react to that?
We're going to see on February 16th. Yeah. We are going to see.
You're not going to get
like
annoyed?
I say, no. Why should I? When he throws a punch, he has to throw a punch. He can't dance and do his break dance and his snake and punch at the same time. You know, I am fighting a fighter. I'm not fighting a dancer. So if he wants to dance, he can dance. And then at some point, over 25 minutes, he's going to have to fight. And that's what I do best. Yeah,
and that's a good point, by the way, because typically Bellator non-title main events are 3 rounds, but because the champion's involved in this tournament, every fight is a 25-minute fight.
Yeah, that's correct.
Do you feel like that favors you? He hasn't been in a lot of those, if not any.
No, he hasn't. And I'm a fit fighter. I'm fit and I'm in shape. I've trained well for this fight.
I saw on your Instagram.
Yeah.
You appear to be in phenomenal shape.
I'm in great shape. You know, all the coaches have done their job, and I'm prepared, if it needs to go 25 minutes. No problem.
I also saw, speaking of your Instagram, it's, what is it, Semtex 170?
Semtex, at Semtex 170, yep, that's correct.
But then the Twitter is like underscore.
I don't even know the Twitter. That's
the one I'm proud of, because I feel like I kind of pushed you over the edge. There it is, right over there. Semtex _ 170 on Twitter. There we go. You'd probably rather they put the Instagram up there.
Yeah, put the Instagram up there.
But I saw that you posted you and the infamous Mike from Mike's Gym.
Yes.
Legendary. And you said it's a humbling experience going there.
Always.
What is that like going there? I mean, this is some of the greatest fighters in the world have come through that gym in Holland.
You know, I've been going to Mike's for a very long time, and I go for obviously the training, but also to be humbled. You know, you guys in the sport of mixed martial arts think of me as a knockout artist and then a striker, an elite striker. But when you go there, you sort of find your place within that kind of discipline. And I need that. And I need to be reminded of my flaws. And that's the best place to go and sort of get that eye opener. I was there at the beginning of camp, and I closed out my camp there.
Oh, really? Okay.
And it always has a great effect on my performances whenever I've been there.
Last time I spoke to you, you said you were getting ready to go to Jamaica for the first time.
Yes.
You went.
I went.
And you went with your mom, correct?
I went. I took Mom to Jamaica.
First time. She's from Jamaica, correct?
She's from Jamaica. She's from London, but she's first generation. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
What was it like?
It was fantastic. You know, I got to meet family that I'd never seen before. Got to experience the country basically, and I enjoyed it. And I'm going to try and go. Well, I will be going every year. I think I'm probably going to go in August again. Okay. And keep that going. It was a very kind of. I kind of connected with the place, you know. Even though I was born and raised in England, I think something remains in your soul, in your blood, that when you go to where your family, your predecessors have come from, it kind of gives you something.
Did you go train there? Do I recall?
No. I was supposed to go and train. I was supposed to go and do a free seminar out there for some of the kids of Kingston, but something along the way didn't work out. Okay. And,
is MMA popular there?
I do believe so. Yeah, they're doing shows out there. I know.
Really?
Sterling's been out there and done seminars, as well as Leon Edwards as well have been out there and done some seminars and things. So yeah, I think it's growing, and you know, it would be a nice location to have a fight there. I
gotta say, I mean, you've provided great memories for us, great highlights, but. And I know it wasn't the most positive moment, but you talking smack at the end of the John Fitch fight was just like, I think you were talking to Morrow and those guys, right? Like, what is this? Are you happy?
Give me the share. I think I messaged you about that and says, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I just felt like, you know what, I just felt like this is bullshit. And I felt like nobody wants to see this, you know. Something's got to give.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm not against it. I train all mixed martial arts. I train all aspects of the sport. But, you know, if you're going to do something, do it. If you're going to take me down, then take me down, beat me up. If you're going to go for a submission, break my arm, choke me out, don't. You know, I think there has to be some kind of rule change in terms of activity. And I just felt, not just at that point, but it was coming to that point through the whole fight. I thought there was moments where it could have been separated and stood back up on the feet, and that was it at the end. I was like, this is shit. And that's what.
Did you realize they were so close to you?
Yeah, I could see him. Yeah, I could see him. I was talking to him, and they were looking at me like they didn't know how to respond, or what, I don't know what they said or what came through on the commentary, but he was like, kind of like thumbs up, you know, kind of thing. Don't spit at me or whatever. But it was just like, you know, give the fans what they want. And
sure.
then I got like an Instagram. Someone sent me from filming in the crowd, and this is John Fitch's hometown, and you know, there was a lot of booing, and he said they were booing because I wasn't doing anything, but then the guy's like, Fitch is shit, man, this is boring, what the So it's like, yeah, I think they were booing you, John, but it is what it is. Fight's gone. I'm looking forward now.
Okay, so Lima is next, right? He won already his first round match.
Yep.
On the other side, it is Fitch versus Rory McDonald and Neiman Gracie.
Rory takes that comfortably.
Yeah, you think Rory takes that, you said? You fought both those guys.
Yeah, I think...
Even though he got beat up pretty bad by Gegard.
I think his mind wasn't in the game, and I think
right.
if you watch the fight, you can almost see it. It was kind of... something was missing.
Right.
I could see that even before he did the post-fight interview. You could, you know, I don't know, fight is intuition, but I kind of got the sense that something was missing mentally for him in that fight. But, you know, Rory I rate very highly as one of the top guys. You know, I've been in there with him. I've experienced it. I didn't do well. Mentally, I wasn't well because I'm a massive admirer of him and I know what he's capable of. But it was a good experience for me. But I think Rory takes that fight quite comfortably.
Okay, do you think and do you think he beats Neiman Gracie?
I think Rory's in the final.
Yeah.
I think Rory's in the final. I think a rematch with me and Douglas Lima is very interesting. I feel like I made mistakes in that fight, namely starting too fast and getting dropped in the first 30 seconds and playing catch up. But I feel like, looking back, there are changes that I can make, and there's probably changes that Douglas could make that he feels will make the fight easy for him. But I feel like that's going to be a good fight.
And then, okay, so then you get the rematch against Rory.
Yeah.
And what a storybook ending that is. You win the belt and the $1 million.
It would be. Rory's a tough guy. You know, it'd be a very, very tough fight. I'd have to train a lot more smarter and intelligently than I did for the first fight.
Why? Well, what did you do wrong the first time?
I don't know.
You didn't take it seriously?
No, I took it extremely seriously, but I just didn't. Sometimes you got to be in there and yeah, sometimes you got to be in there. And also prior to the fight, I just felt my mind wasn't right.
Really?
But I admit these things, and I learn from them.
We appreciate that.
I admit and I learn.
Right before you walked out?
And I moved right before I walked out.
What happened?
I was just maybe too emotional.
Wow.
Maybe too emotional.
And you just didn't feel like yourself?
No, I felt like myself. I just felt like I was... I felt like yeah, I don't even know the feeling, but I was
Has that happened before?
Never.
Really?
Never.
Wow.
I don't know. I was just like, I'm fighting Rory McDonald, you know.
Yeah.
Fighters that I respect a lot. Sometimes I rate him highly without kissing his ass too much.
Sure.
He's one of the few fighters that I would put in a category of people that I perhaps watched prior to the fight and admired. So
okay.
It was maybe one of those occasions.
So are you relishing the opportunity to fight him again, or are you dreading it?
No, I didn't get beat up in the fight. I got choked out.
Right.
But he's a tough guy. There didn't seem like there was many openings there in the short time that I spent in the cage with him. But I know there are things that I could have done in preparation better that would have maybe created more openings for myself.
Do you like the fact that there's $1 million on the line? Like, do you feel like that motivates you a little more?
It's kind of the money, because I've never been the recipient of such money. It's just a number to me at the moment.
Right. It doesn't feel
you're not
real?
spending it. It doesn't feel real. Like, it doesn't feel real. Like for me, the tournament begins with Michael Page February 16th and victory there, and I'm looking no further than that. I just have to dispel the illusion, knock this guy out, and then we'll talk again after that.
Will a decision not feel quite right? Like you have to knock him out for this?
No, I don't have to knock him
Okay.
out. I don't have to knock him out, but I just believe I will. I just believe I will. I just believe I'm going to bring something, and he's going to feel something that he's never felt before.
I love the Chris Eubank, Nigel Benn comparison, because that is the right one, because that felt like a civil war as well, right?
Yeah,
and that's what this feels like.
It did. And that's how I can for the UK. I know the UK media will they'll attach themselves to that, and they'll be able to they'll understand what I mean by the magnitude of this fight.
Whose side were you on for that one? Were you
I've
a Eubank
always
guy?
been a Eubank fan. My dad was a Nigel Benn fan, so it was a bit of a bit of a clash there, but it was a good
Chris
fight.
Eubank might be my favorite human being on the planet. I can listen to that man speak. I mean, what a voice.
It's cool.
Have you ever heard him recite poems?
I've never heard him recite poems, but I've read his autobiography, and during his prime, I was a massive follower.
Later tonight, if you're bored, go on YouTube and type in Chris Eubank Invictus. He was on my show, and he recited Invictus prior to the Mayweather-McGregor fight. And I swear to God, I thought I had an out-of-body experience. It was so eloquent. The way he delivered it was unbelievable. And the way he dresses, right? He's so dapper.
He's sharp.
Man.
Very dapper. Very good speaker, and a very interesting story. If you ever asked him about his
and now his son,
his biography, and now he has his son. Yeah,
right.
He's a very deep character.
Well, this has been an honor for me, Paul.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it very much. Again, February 16th, Mohegan Sun, Uncasville, Connecticut. Paul Daley versus MVP. The biggest grudge match in UK MMA history, the biggest grudge match in Bellator MMA history. Paul, I can't thank you enough, my man. I really appreciate it. Best of luck to you. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.